Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian from Tribeca Trade Group, and this is your end of week as well as end of month video from the Tribeca Trade Group. So, risk disclaimer in front of you. Everything that we're going through is for information purposes only, not giving you any advice or recommendations. You can read the whole risk disclaimer here, and if the video is a little bit blurry, just give it a little bit more time for YouTube to render the video. So, wow, what a strong end to the month, to the week. I will go over the market performance. I did put that together for the overall market as well as sector performance. But yes, only 2 more months of the year to go. I can't believe how fast this year has gone by. If we look at today's performance, just a couple quick things, and then I'll talk more about just overall just summing up the month. But interesting, this was the theme a couple days ago too. Blockchain stocks, clean energy stocks, solar stocks, they all did pretty well today. Software stocks did well today. And a variety of other areas. It was stronger breadth today. Well, I'm sorry, that's not right. The breadth was mixed for the day, right? So if we want to look at this really quick, here we go. For the Dow, it was kind of split in the middle. 16 advancing names, 14 declining names. S&P, 210 advancing, 290 declining names. And NASDAQ was kind of cut right in the middle there. But the growth area of the market did really well. And I know that's what a lot of traders out there focus on, and particularly retail traders. They are more in tune to what growth areas of the market are doing, and I have to say those were pretty strong. If you look at the underperforming areas of the market, like the energy stocks did not have a good week, I believe, and I'll bring up that performance in just a second. Chinese internets did not have a good week. They were down 3%. Some of those energy stocks were down about 3% for the week, depending on which ones. Oil services was down 3.1% there. I'll just zoom in this a little bit more so that you could see, even if the high definition version of the video is done. The banks were a little bit weak today. They were down slightly. So again, depending on what area of the market you were in, SPY finished up 20 basis points for the day, but rallied through the session. The Qs, bigger rally through the session. They finished really nice reversal because they did start lower on the day with Amazon and Apple weighing on them, and they rallied through the session 1.3%. Again, I always think it's interesting what areas, once we open, what areas are getting bought, right? Not just the overall performance, which of course is the most important thing, but it's always interesting to it helps me spot trends, to look at the things that happened over the session. And then also, to couple that with, and it could be just a little bit why the growth areas are doing so well, is based on what interest rates are doing, right? So when we look at the long end of the curve, which TLT looks at, right, that rallied, that was red on the day, started down, and I think at one point TLT was down about 0.5%, and that actually finished, rallied 80 basis points. So up another 30 basis points for the week, and that brings you up over 2% for TLT, and that just kind of takes the pressure off for now the growth names, right? I think everybody at this point knows the relationship because of what we saw earlier in the year back in February. As interest rates went higher, a lot of the growth stocks, higher multiple stocks, really got hurt by that, and there was a lot of profit taking and rotating out of those groups. But right now we're not, we saw a more gradual move a couple months ago, but we now are, seeing kind of some sideways action and some rallies, depending on the week, right? We're back to that 200-day moving average in this is the long bond future / ZB 30-year futures, right? So again, that's kind of just helping out the overall situation for the growth stocks. Again, it's not the only factor, but it's certainly one of the things that is in play with that relationship. All right, so that's the performance, and I'll come back here because I want to talk about year-to-date performance. I'm going to sum up my performance as well, and here's what we have for the week. So I'll make this a little bit here. Let me just minimize this, so just so that you're focusing on this. But for the week, S&P was up 1.4%. The Dow was up 40 basis points. Small caps, we had that back and forth action. One day they were weak, one day they were really strong, and then you had today, which was kind of in the middle. They were flat for the day. Q's big outperformance. They were up 3.2% for the week. I'll zoom in on this a little bit too, just in case. Whoa, that's too much. Too little. There we go. So the Qs were up 3.2%. Look at what happened to emerging markets. Really kind of interesting too today. Not just the move in bonds this week, but the move in the U.S. dollar was very strong this week, right? So here's the chart. So let's talk a little bit about the macro stuff, and then in the weekend videos for members we talk more about single name setups, and of course we do that all day long in the Tribeca trading room, right? We'll talk about that in a little more in a second too. But UUP, you could see we haven't taken out this level, right? But this is as high as we went, this virgin point of control. But this was a big day. 80 basis points is a decent move. Larger than normal move for the U.S. dollar. So that weighs on emerging markets a bit, right? Because believe it or not, when you are long in a international ETF, unless they specifically say so, and most of them they don't hedge the currency. But something like an EM or EFA, they have currency risk, right? Because you're holding a basket of international names, right? So that and that's denominated in U.S. dollars, but it's holding a basket of international. So when the dollar goes up, that portfolio goes down, right? So EEM emerging markets were down 2.2%. EFA, you could say, was also slightly in the red. As I mentioned, bonds were up for the week over 2%, 2.5% to be specific. Gold was down for the week. Again, interesting week strong week for growth. And again, you have to kind of point to this move in TLT just a bit. But up 2.5%, and also earnings, right? Obviously, everybody focused on Apple and Amazon because they're big companies. But remember what we got earlier in the week. Strong earnings from MasterCard, Microsoft, and Google, and a bunch of other names too. Look at what Team did today. Spotify had a really nice week. ENPH had a really nice week. Tesla had an enormous week after last week's earnings. So there's a lot of bright spots in this week. There's a lot of bright spots in earnings so far, and there's a lot of troubling areas too, right? And coming into earnings season, right, we knew that this was going to be the case, right, with the supply chain and not being able to get products to customers, as well as wages increased. Some of these companies are getting crunched by both sides. So it's a really interesting. We knew it was going to be a very interesting earnings season, but bottom line is, and DXCM is another one that had a great day today too. And what we do is we keep a list of all the strong earnings moves and earnings gaps, and then we look to kind of take advantage of those names, right? We've talked a lot about that in these videos, as well as members have heard me say that a lot. Made a decent amount of money in names that reported last cycle that did very well, like names like Amba that completely changed, Ambarella, which completely changed its personality after earnings. So, that's kind of, as I said, going into earnings season, that's what I would be really excited about, is finding the names that are going to set up the trading opportunities for the next quarter. So we're all over those moves. And it's great to see some of these names that obviously we're already holding, like a Lending Club and like a DXCM, right? We and a Tesla, right? We're long those names in the TTG trend portfolio. So that's been exceptionally good. We've had some really good performance in that, and I'll share with you. Over the weekend, I'll put together the performance. I manage two portfolios here. So let me get to before we get to that, there's the performance for the week. Huge week for solar and clean energy, both up over 10%. Blockchain stocks, these three were the days, some of the day's top performers, but they were for the week too. Blockchain stocks up 8.5%. Those three areas. Consumer discretionary very strong. Tesla's now one of the biggest weights, right around a 20% weight in that ETF. Semis had a good week despite some some companies not doing well, up 2.4%. AMD, Nvidia kind of carried that, and a few other names there. Tech was fine for the week, up 2%. Healthcare up 1.6. Transports, which have been on fire in the weeks past, added to gains this week, up 1.4%. And you can see the right side of your column a little bit more, or right side of the screen. You could see a little bit more of the value type areas, like oil services was down 5% for the week. Gold miners down 3.8%. Aerospace and defense up 3.6%. We took that name. We actually had that in the TTG trend portfolio, and we took it out. Was it the beginning of this week or it was last week? I'm trying to remember, but we did take that out and miss the underperformance. The banks also underperformed this week, down almost 3% for the week. Metals and mining also did not perform well. They started to look pretty good on the chart, but you're going to see that from time to time, right? You're going to see fake outs, right? I think this XME is now a couple times has tried to kind of break out of value and kicked back inside. So I don't want to go over too many charts here because we're going to do that over the weekend. But there's obviously a lot to talk about, right? And there's your international performance. Interesting. Vietnam up 3%, China down 4%. And there's a couple other relationships in there that are noteworthy as well. All right, so that's the week performance. Let me move back to the performance for the month, right? And we'll look at this is year to date. So again, let me look at it this way. SPY for the month was up 5.7%. So it was a very good month for the indices. 5.7. Let's see what the Qs did, right? For the 1 month performance, up almost 7% for the week. For the month, excuse me. Sorry, it's been a long week, and IWM was up 3%. So a little bit trailing performance again for the small caps. Right? I know a lot of people have eyes on that chart, right, looking for the breakout to happen. But there's plenty of, you don't have to get, in my opinion, it's just one area of the market. If small caps want to break out, that's great. So be it. If not, there's plenty of other opportunities in the market, right? So I wouldn't get too caught up in what the small caps, whether or not they break out or not. We'll be all over it if they do break out, and we'll have some trades for that. But for the year, when we look at the year performance, you got S&P Qs and mid caps now up all over 20% for the year. Like I said, we only have 2 more months to go for the year. Small caps still, doing fine, up 16%. I mean, this is a really good performance. I think on average, the S&P is supposed to do, over a larger area of time, it's usually around like 10% that the S&P. So up 22% with still 2 months to go is pretty remarkable. All right, and a couple other stats in there too. A couple other areas of the market you could see their performance too. My performance, every month I update members and I send out a video, or talk about that in one of the videos that we do over the weekend, details about performance. But I had a very good month this month. I was up. How much was I up for the month? I think somewhere like around 16 or 17%. I think for the month, for the year. So I can update this now. I won't. I'll update the trend TTG trend portfolio. But this is now going to be right around. I might be off a percent because I don't have the official document from E-Trade, which is where my trading account is housed. But I'm up now about 67% for the year. So that's good. I made, once we were kind of in this in the beginning, I think it was towards the end of August, beginning of September. I kind of set where I was at that point and said, what am I looking to achieve for the rest of the year? And I think I said I would be happy. My first goal I think would be up about 65% year to date, and I got there. So we'll see what else we can. I would love to be up 100% for the year. I don't know if that's feasible, but we'll continue to kind of put our head down and try to trade really well, and we'll see what happens the last couple months. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that too, but just a couple of quick thoughts on the rest of the year. But so the way, if you're not familiar with the Tribeca Trade Group and what we do, and if you're not familiar with me, I was an institutional trader at Merrill Lynch for a long time. I was on the institutional trading desk, Delta One trading desk, and I also traded ETFs, which we later split out of the Delta One trading desk. But I did that for a number of years, and I've been running Tribeca Trade Group now for about 5 years, and it's been pretty cool. It's been a lot of fun and it's been enjoyable. What we do is we have a wonderful community of traders, and we build off of one another, right? My job is to kind of, for newer traders to come in, I try to educate and try to really keep realistic expectations for younger traders, right? If I never want anybody to come in and to be a member of Tribeca Trade Group who is looking to strike it rich, like in a couple months off of what we're doing in the room, right? It's a process, right? And this is a great business to be into. It's very challenging. It's never dull. It's always kind of exciting to me, not just the price action in the stocks, but what is going on with the overall economy and the overall market, the whole macro picture. But this is not a like I'm going to be rich in a couple months, right? The goal is to follow a system, a program, and to continuously improve, right? To get better with what you're doing, right? No one ever gets to the point where they figure this out, like, and that's it, right? It's always you're always battling with your own investor psychology and making sure that you keep your emotions in check. Everybody makes mistakes, right? We talked about that in the room earlier. It's human nature, right? No one is perfect, right? But trying to limit those mistakes and making those mistakes small, and not staying on the wrong side of the market, right? Not staying wrong. It's okay to be wrong, but it's not good to stay wrong, right? And that takes time to develop. But if that's something that you are interested in, improving as a trader, having a community of traders, right, then I would suggest try Tribeca Trade Group. And also, if you give it a shot, right, for a month, make sure that you ask questions. We see this from time to time. Traders come in for a couple weeks, and I don't hear from them, right? So we do reach out, of course, to new traders who come in the room, but you got to ask questions, right, to understand what's going on, and it does require a little bit of a time commitment too to get really good at this game, right? But it's possible. Right, it's possible, and with experience and with spending time doing this, you could become really good at it, right? And we just had a great month at Tribeca Trade Group. Not just myself, but I think a lot of members, and it's teamwork, right? I mean, I'm able to achieve the returns that I have through what everybody's kind of contributing in the room, right? We all kind of put. Obviously I run the trading group, but it's open to traders who want to share their ideas and and get feedback on them, right? And also ask questions, right? We have an open forum for asking questions and chart requests, right, and that type of thing. So with 2 months to go, I'm excited for the rest of the year. Do I think it's going to be a straight up market? No, I don't. We have a Fed meeting next week. We're going to get some guidance, but I think as long as you follow as long as I follow the process, right, and I talked about in yesterday's video, not getting too far over the tips of your skis with risk, because this market will change personalities on a dime. It's very fast, right? If the institutional traders, right, if the pension funds, if the mutual funds, if the big hedge funds, if they want to switch what they're doing and rotate out of groups, you got to be aware of that, and you got to be able to make changes and move with the flow. All right, so So I'm very happy about the performance. I'll put this out on Twitter tomorrow once I get the official statement from E-Trade, and members will get a little bit more information about what was good this month and what worked out well, what didn't. I certainly had a number of trades that ended up being losers too, right? A couple times this month, frustrated, but you got to keep your head up, right? And the other thing is, your mindset. You got to stay fresh, right? Take breaks every once in a while. I took 2 vacations. I had 2 vacations this month, something that I never do. But I had a couple family things going on, and I was able to still kind of crank out a pretty decent month with 2 vacations. Now I was trading part time for most of those days, but still, it helps to make sure that your mind is fresh and that your outlook, right? I've talked about this a couple of times, having the viewpoint of the glass is half full versus half empty. If you come in down every day and trying to play a catch-up game, right, instead of trading what's in front of you, you're going to struggle a little bit more, right? You just have to be positive. That doesn't mean to be overconfident. So have confidence, but not overconfidence. So again, these things take time, but yeah. So I think I kind of went through enough things here because I don't talk about being a member of Tribeca Trade Group in every one of these videos. I darn near talk about it maybe once a month. But here's how you do become a member. You could go right to the website, or you can click on my profile, and you could get some information about what we do. You hear me a lot in my videos talk about the market webs. I use an indicator that really helps me be disciplined. Right, we talked about this today in the member video midday about having a plan for every trade. Right, thinking about as you get into the trade. Where's your stop price? Where are you taking targets? What's your ultimate goal? Right? That has to be done before you click the mouse to get in. Right? So, yeah, so much more to follow, but I'm going to cut the video off here now because it's over 20 minutes because I could ramble on about, trading and what we do and, all those things. But I'll leave it there, guys. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you guys over the weekend for the member videos. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.